Guys, I'm super excited about today's video because in this video I'm collaborating with John from Electric Teeth, and we'll be talking about the differences between dentistry in the UK versus the US. So before I get started, quick announcement. John is actually making a video also where he's asking me some questions, so make sure to check out his video as well to get the full picture of all the differences between dentistry in US versus UK. I'll leave a link in the description below, so make sure to check it out if you haven't already. All right, without further ado, question number 1. How does the dental system in the UK work?
Within the UK, you essentially have two options in regards to dental treatment. The default system that the vast majority of people rely upon is the National Health Service, the NHS. A visit to an NHS dentist isn't free like a visit to a doctor or a hospital is. Instead, it is heavily subsidised. So a regular checkup or a filling will cost, but the price you pay is far less than the true cost. The system is based around 3 main price bands. Each band applies to certain treatments, and there is a specific cost for each band. Band 1 covers a regular checkup, x-rays and a dental cleaning. This costs £23.80, which is approximately $30. Band 2 will include treatment for gum disease, a filling, root canal and extraction, for example. This costs £65.20 or about $80. Band 3 will cover anything that involves a dental lab to make something for you. This includes onlays, inlays, crowns and new dentures. This costs £282.80, which is about $345. If you pay for band 2 or 3, it includes any work necessary and covered by a lower band, regardless of how many appointments you require. The exact costs depend on whether you live in England, Wales, Scotland or Northern Ireland. There are some differences between them and how the systems run. Some people, subject to specific conditions, will be eligible for free treatment. For example, if you are pregnant, you don't pay for treatment during pregnancy or for the year after. And all children in education are eligible for free treatment too. Only treatment which is clinically necessary will be provided by the NHS. You can't get cosmetic treatments such as veneers, implants or teeth whitening on the NHS. When you get a filling, for example, it will often be a metal or silver coloured filling rather than a white tooth coloured one. The second option is private dental treatment. The costs vary from one dental office to another, and each individual service will usually have its own cost. Through a private dental office, you can get any treatment you want, providing you are prepared to pay for it. Going private, you have more choice in materials for a better overall product. Whilst you get dental offices which are exclusively private, a large proportion of the NHS dental offices also offer private treatments. This allows NHS patients to upgrade at a cost, so that silver filling can be white instead without having to visit another dentist.
Okay, so it sounds like we have similar systems actually, but just the emphasis in the UK is more on the government-funded type of system versus in the US, private practice, I feel like, is more heavily emphasized. And it also sounds like overall dentistry in the UK is a little cheaper, or quite a bit cheaper than the US. Next question. We kind of started talking about it, but is dentistry in the UK expensive?
The answer to this question is somewhat subjective. Many people in the UK complain about the cost of a dentist because most of their healthcare is provided for free. But in reality, if you use the NHS system, then no, it isn't. The price most pay is far below the true cost to carry out the treatment received. Private dental treatment is seen by many in the UK to be very expensive, as there is a natural tendency to compare this to the subsidised NHS dental fees. A routine checkup will cost approximately $30 on the NHS, whilst privately it will cost £60 to £100 or $70 to $120. A hygiene appointment isn't offered by the NHS unless considered clinically necessary. If it is, you'll pay $30 for a scale and polish. $80 is the cost for a thorough dental scaling, but privately you'll pay £60 to £150, about $70 to $180. A crown on the NHS will cost $345, but may cost about $400 to $1,200 privately. A full set of dentures will cost $345 on the NHS, but around $1,200 privately. Dental implants can only be sourced privately and will cost around £2,000 or $2,500, including a crown. Orthodontic treatment is offered for free to children on the NHS where necessary. Adults can't get braces on the NHS, your only option is private. A set of Invisalign will typically cost $4,000 to $5,000.
So what I'm hearing is people in the United Kingdom think dentistry is expensive because all their other medical stuff is free. But overall, to me, it sounds like even the most expensive options in the UK are still cheaper or at maximum equal to prices in the US. So that leads me into the next question. Do people in the UK have dental insurance?
As a general rule, no, people do not have dental insurance because of the value the NHS system offers. Due to increased difficulty accessing NHS dentists as a result of the pandemic, it is certainly something more are considering. Some people do take out policies privately, or some companies may provide such for staff, be that as standard or as an optional extra as part of their employment package. However, such employment benefits are usually found in large companies or offered to senior persons within an organisation.
So it sounds like there is an option for dental insurance, but it's not very popular because of the prominence of the NHS system. It's kind of opposite of how it is in the United States. I feel like people really freak out if they don't have dental insurance because it's so expensive. All right, moving on. Is there a distinction between dentists and hygienists and dental assistants?
Yes, there is a distinction between these roles. Dentists will perform your typical procedures, checkups, fillings, root canals, extractions, dentures, etc. Some dentists, where appropriate, can and might perform a scale and polish, depending on the severity. But as a general rule, this would be passed to the hygienist. There are dental therapists, which are hygienists with additional training, that can provide some services previously only offered by the dentists. This includes completing fillings, cementing crowns, removing baby teeth, and tooth whitening. Dental nurses and assistants will usually be in place to assist the dentist with checkups and procedures they will be performing. Hygienists often operate a little more independently and don't generally have a nurse or assistant in the treatment room with them. But there is usually a team in the office that will support them with room prep, cleaning, etc. It takes 5+ years to study to become a dentist and typically costs around £28,000, which is $33,000. To become a dental hygienist or a dental therapist will take 2 to 3 years. This can cost over £20,000 or $25,000, but fully funded places do exist. Once qualified, all dental professionals are registered with the General Dental Council, a centralised database.
So everything sounds pretty similar, except I would say the biggest difference I noticed is the 5 years of dental school and $33,000 for the cost. In America, it takes about 8 years to finish dental school if you want to become a general dentist. There are some accelerated programs which you can finish dental school within like 5 years or something like that, but the general rule of thumb is 8 years for general dentistry and then more from there if you want to become a specialist. And when you become a dentist, you graduate with about $500,000 in student loans on average. So maybe that's why dentistry in America is so expensive. It starts with how expensive dental school is. I don't know, just a thought. But the other thing it makes me think about is how knowledgeable are dentists in the UK if they only learn everything in 5 years? Or maybe America's just dumb and needs 8 years of school. Anyway, moving on. So I hear these crazy stories of heroic dentistry where, dentists will pull a tooth from one spot and implant it into another spot, or, amputate a root of a tooth and so that they can save the rest of the tooth or whatever. And I'm just curious, do you guys practice heroic dentistry in the UK?
No, it probably does take place, but it isn't commonplace and widely talked about if it does happen.
Interesting. So UK is a no. I wonder where these heroic dentists are. I guess I'll have to hunt them down and interview some other people from other countries. Stay tuned, maybe, if I can find them. Anyway, next question. What type of preventive services do you guys offer?
As a general rule, they are not offered, or certainly not if you are under an NHS dentist.
What? All right, let's hear the rest of this out.
An NHS dentist might recommend hygiene visits, but you would have to pay for this privately.
Wow, well, here's where the NHS is really lacking. Found your dirty little secret. No, maybe I'm just biased. Here's what. If you guys live in the US, you're watching this, Comment below which state you're in and tell me a little bit about your preventive care services. Like, how often do you go in for a cleaning, or how often does your dentist recommend it? I'm just curious. I want more information, what the big picture is. So that being said, what are some products that dental professionals typically recommend in the UK?
Recommendations are usually the major brands you are used to. For electric toothbrushes, this is Oral-B and Sonicare. Oral-B is probably the stronger of the two brands in the UK, helped potentially by their range of toothpaste, floss, etc. TP is one of the most promoted brands for interdental brushes, and Waterpik for water flossers. Listerine and Colgate are popular choices for mouthwashes. Sensodyne is widely recommended as a toothpaste for sensitive teeth, whilst Corsadil might be recommended for those with early stage gum disease. There are many other brands, and more professionals are altering recommendations based on specific needs and budgets.
All right, so a lot of these sound familiar. I would say TP, I think I've heard of it. We might be talking about two different companies. I don't know if there's multiple TP brands, but the one I'm thinking of has a manual toothbrush. I'm not so sure about interdental brushes.
What kind of instruments do you use for cleanings? It depends on the clinical case. Expect all hygiene surgeries to have hand instruments, ultrasonic scalers, polishing cups, and brushes with prophy paste. Ultrasonic instruments vary from detachable handpieces that go on the dental cart to standalone units. The ones I have most commonly seen are the Cavo Piezo and the Acton Satellec.
The Piezo I am familiar with. The other one, Acton Satellec, sounds like a spaceship. I'm not familiar with it. The ultrasonic scalers that we use typically are either piezo, or I currently use a Cavitron. It's probably all gibberish to patients. Suffice it to say, sounds like UK and US both use some sort of ultrasonic scaling. So on par with that. All right, this next one is kind of interesting. Do hygienists in the UK polish everyone's teeth? Real quick background information. The polish is where they put a little bit of that gritty stuff. Usually it's mint flavored. You can ask for a fruity flavor or whatever, and they kind of polish up your teeth either at the beginning or at the end of the appointment.
It depends on the case. Patients often want or expect it, but in short appointments where time is limited, scaling is more of a priority because of this polishing might not be done.
Okay, interesting. Patients in America also expect the polish, it seems. Here's the deal. We're actually taught in school polishing is not necessary for the actual cleaning. The main takeaway is it's very abrasive on the enamel, so they're recommending to limit how often you polish. Even within one patient's mouth, you're supposed to avoid polishing crowns and implants because it's so abrasive. So I end up having to do quite a bit of education to patients who I don't see the need for polish, and they question me like, wait, you're done? You're not gonna polish my teeth? Okay, this one's probably more of an interesting question. What is your guys' stance on fluoride in the UK?
It is encouraged. Most toothpaste will include fluoride. Education around it and the benefits probably could be improved. There is a minority against it, seeing it as dangerous and favouring more natural alternatives. I expect to see alternatives such as nanohydroxyapatite toothpaste become more popular in the coming years.
Okay, so no surprise there, pretty similar. Final question, really the ultimate question of this video. Is there an emphasis on preventive care in the UK? Do people value that in your country, or is it more of a, don't touch it if it doesn't hurt kind of approach?
As a general rule, there isn't a strong emphasis on preventative care. There are many factors as to why, but one of the primary reasons is there is a lack of time for NHS dental professionals to dedicate to educating patients on the importance. Many people will take the approach of don't touch if it doesn't hurt, and some are unintentionally naive to the fact that they could have potentially done more to prevent the issue when it does hurt. With more people opting for private treatment and being forced to take steps to better care for their teeth, there is a bit of a change in understanding, but it will take generations and serious investment for major change.
Well, on that note, it's a very sad note to end on. Can we just make it not take generations for people to understand the importance of oral health? Can you guys share this video and share my channel with a friend or family or coworker? Just get people to become more aware of how important oral health is, how much money they can save if they start taking care of their teeth. That would just make me so happy. All right, so don't forget to check out John's video, link in the description below. He's gonna be asking me questions about dentistry in America, and it's gonna be a little bit different than the questions that you guys heard in this video, so make sure to check it out to get the full picture. And then feel free to follow up with any questions you guys have about all these differences. Either myself myself or John can help answer those and clarify things. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching, and as always, take care of your teeth.